Evening, good morning, wherever you are in the world. And so we are actually very excited for this session today. I think it's a beginning of a series of sessions that we are planning for team coaching. This session is being also one of the first to be run as a panel discussion by the coaching journey community. Um, and I'll say it is a in-house session. So there are many firsts in that. And just to let you all know that the panel comprises of Rhea, Preeti, Arun. They're all three of them are ECTC certified, team coaching certified. They're all part of the coaching journey community. And you might have interacted with some of them or all of them. So I'll just request all of them to give a little bit tell about themselves. But before I do that, I'll just let you know that the session will be having a hard stop at 6:30 India time, and we'll start winding down by 6:15. We will take questions towards the end from all of you. So before that, we will be uh, um, having some discussions that we think are important, and you can keep your questions toward the end. So over to you, Rhea, to introduce yourself, and then Preeti, and then Arun.
Hi, thank you, Sandeep. Thank you. So hi, everyone, and thank you for joining us for this intro to team coaching. My name is Raya. I just received my ACTP 2 weeks ago, and I would like to share my experience because I did team coaching, group coaching for years, and I wanted to receive some international accreditation so I can go with this accreditation to any place, any company. Thank you.
Preeti.
Yeah, hi everyone. Very good evening, very good morning, wherever you are. So thank you, Sandeep. My name is Preeti, and I believe many of you have seen me earlier also here in the coaching journey sessions. So I have earned my ACTC credential in the month of March, so not very old. And I'm a PCC coach, and I've done some team coaching assignments and have been doing right now also, and really excited to have in this session and share my experiences and insights, whatever I've gathered in the journey. Over to you, Arun.
Thank you, Preeti. Thank you, Sandeep. Hi, everybody. So I have a slightly different background. I've had several decades of experience in the technology sector, in the corporate sector, with people like Dell and SAP and Intel and those guys. Obviously, along the way, you do get a fairly good experience in team leading, facilitation, mentoring, but really not coaching in the true sense. So I am only a year old in my coaching journey. So I just got my ACC in February. I got my ACTC in April. Have had some real world experience in individual executive coaching, but virtually none in team coaching. So it's kind of ironical that I get a accreditation without actually getting my feet wet or getting my hands dirty in the real world. But that being said, there are a few opportunities that are coming up, and I'm really excited to take a fair amount of life experience, but bring coaching into especially a team context. And just 30 seconds of why I am drawn to team coaching is really one of my mentors mentioned that in his experience, executives can leave and join teams, but generally a team tends to be a little more stable than an individual or a team member in the team, barring restructuring and things like that. So some of the goodness of coaching in a team context tends to be a little more sustainable with the company and the sponsor. So in that sense, team coaching has got its own unique dynamics, but also the goodness of coaching staying on in a more sustainable fashion is a little different when we coach a team than an individual. So that's kind of what drew me to team coaching, but absolutely in the learning journey and sharing journey with you all, and looking forward to a nice discussion. Thank you.
So thank you. This session is actually a result of all the conversations that we have been having in the group and the curiosity about team coaching from people who have not been certified in team coaching and would like to get into team coaching. So I think the first question that I would like to ask the panel is that what, according to you, is team coaching and how is it different from one-to-one coaching? Any one of you can take it, Preeti, Rhea, or Arun.
Rhea, you want to go ahead?
Okay, I will start. So for me, team coaching, it's really goes there to the dynamic of everyone's opinion, and like if you imagine the one-on-one coaching, so you have this silence moment, you have this aha moments, and the team coaching is to create these moments for the team, because everyone comes with their own experience and the expectations. So for me to grow the teams and to deal with the teams, it's something that empower me to empower more people. It's really like something that I want to do. Yeah, Preeti.
Yeah, I don't know. My video is just acting weird today. The Zoom is not liking my face, so it's getting switched off again and again. Anyway, so for me, one-on-one coaching, we all know what is one-on-one coaching. Team coaching is doing all of that, whatever we are doing in one-on-one coaching, in the group or the team of 8 to 10 people, and you have to hear all the voices. You have to hear all the unheard voices also, whatever they are not sharing, whatever they are sharing, and the team is complex. The whole complexity is there. So the team coaching is different. It's in a very different level. I can say the coaching is at one level, and then you have to multiply that to 8-9 levels, and doing the coaching together of 8-9 individuals at the same time, and giving the same presence, giving the same coaching mindset, and giving the same trust to everyone. So it should be balanced for everyone. So that is what team coaching for me is, that it's complex, but it's challenging, and it's interesting also, exciting also for me.
That's
Arun?
well said, Preeti. Yeah, I mean, yeah, to me, just to add on, what both of you have said, what's interesting for me in team coaching is the team has an objective that's more than the objectives of the individual team members. And the whole idea is how do we coach the team as one entity and encourage a common identity if one doesn't exist, and have everybody marching towards that team goal. I mean, in individual coaching, it's a little bit of a self-contained, safe cocoon with one person with that person's objectives. You multiply, as Preeti said, by 8 or 10 or 15 or 20. The dynamics become way more complex. And I can't think of a better definition than what ICF has, honestly. And I mean, if we could show a slide. I think we have put together that side by side compares the definition of an individual and team coaching. You will see similarities, but you'll also see some interesting differences. So we'll see if we can show you that slide in a moment. But
Yeah.
I would say every word in the definition is well intended and well placed in that definition. And the whole idea is to get the team a certain level of team cohesion and a certain level of accountability and a certain sustainability, so that the team can continue with the team leader after the team coaching sessions are finished. And it's a new and improved dynamic that the team has in marching towards their common purpose and shared goals. So maybe Preeti, you want to kind of expand a little on these definitions if you'd like?
Yeah, so basically, as I said earlier also, it is with the team, it's a totally different dynamics and it's a totally different relationships. And pushing all of them together and seeing them as a single entity and moving them towards their shared goals. That's a very important one in this one, that they should have their common purpose and shared goal. And they should all work together as one entity for their purpose, common purpose and shared goals. So that is the major difference over here.
Yeah, and one other thing is, we keep saying we are coaching a team, but if you think about it, there's really no such thing as a team. It consists of individuals. And so while we encourage a common identity, each individual there has a part in playing their role in building a common identity. So being sensitive to the said and the unsaid, as somebody mentioned, the alliances, the subcurrents of politics, or that kind of coalition making that happens within a team. Being able to read that is really essential, and it takes a lot more energy to observe the team dynamics and work through it. And that's why you would notice in this definition there are words like dynamics, relationships, and things like that, which you would see in a team coaching, which is implied in individual coaching, but it builds on individual coaching times 5 or 10 or 15 in terms of complexity.
Yeah, and I want to add also that the team, it's all the participants of the team and also the manager. So it's a one unit that sometimes for us, it's a little bit challengeable to deal with this politics and games and what was built, structured, and now we want to create one unit with all these people. Yeah.
Yeah, I think, Rhea, that you brought a very important point about the challenges, which are very different from a team coaching and a individual coaching. And would you all like to talk a little bit about that? I mean, it's a very important point, which makes the two very different.
Are you asking about the challenges in team coaching?
Yeah, the challenges in team coaching, yes, versus an individual coaching. When you are working as a team coach, it's very different from an individual coaching.
Yes, because there are more people who are playing this game, so you need to have create the instructions or some rules that consider all the participants, and then also illuminate each one's opinion, and yeah, be there for breakthroughs and breakdowns also.
Yeah.
What do you think, Preeti? Oh, Arun.
This is the most interesting point. Yeah.
Yeah. The first and foremost challenge which I have faced for the team coaching, and maybe with experience I'll learn more about it. But first thing is to set the goal. to set the common goal. That is the first and foremost challenge. And it takes really a long time to come up with the common purpose and come up with the shared goals where they all are aligned with the shared goals along with their superiors. And also the one more challenge is to bring their emotions to it. Why they want to achieve this goal. So bring that emotional aspect also is very important. So that is a challenge also, and that is also an opportunity to bring the team together.
Yeah, and I would say, very often, many team members might be afraid of speaking up because of fear of retribution. So the challenge is upon the team coach to establish such a level of transparency and trust by being so vulnerable that everybody feels that they can open up and share their thoughts in a safe collective space, which they wouldn't do in their day-to-day life outside the team coaching session. So I mean, what shows up for me is that the level of ethics is stretched to the next level in terms of transparency, trust, being vulnerable, and having each member open up and share something positive about them that everybody else will praise, and they would see a new dynamic amongst their peers and even their manager in a positive way that they don't see in the day-to-day working, and that lifts the level of trust and gets everybody to open up, because it's a collective engagement. Everybody ideally should be speaking up, and no, even though there are introverts and extroverts and all types of personality styles, it's highly encouraged that everybody gets their opportunity to voice their thoughts about how to go towards that goal or whatever it is that they have set. And in that sense, I also see that ICF has accepted or acknowledged that a mix of team development modalities is needed in team coaching. Whereas in individual coaching, they would tend to be a little more pure about coaching. You would see that actually at some point we will also show a slide on the different modalities for team development and how team coaching is just one of them. And the fact that ICF acknowledges that there are skillful methods of blending, team facilitation and team coaching and team mentoring, depending on the need of the team, as agreed and contracted with the manager and the sponsor, to keep the momentum going forward for the team. And also ethically, if the team coach is capable in a modality, he does that. If he or she is not, they bring in an expert to collaborate with them across those couple of chosen modalities for team development. So there is that aspect that is also a little different, we see, from individual coaching, the allowance for different modalities. So if it makes sense, Sandeep, maybe we could transition to that slide, because I think that's quite central to the understanding of team coaching relative to other development modalities. Does that make sense?
Yeah. I think actually that is what is the normal, natural transition. That is what is coming to. No, I think that is the first question that is going to come. And in fact, someone in the audience also asked, I said, yeah, it's important to also understand, for those who want to get into team coaching, who are curious about team coaching, how is it different from the other team modalities? Yeah. So maybe all three of you can share your light and how you see it. So while there are, theoretical differences, but it's also about how you see it.
Yes, so it's mostly the difference between the team coaching and the rest of the team development processes for me the team is one unit, and that the team is an expert, not the coach. And also that the process will take, I don't know, maybe 3 or 6 months, so we can go deep and create a new behavior or new level of trust in the team.
Yeah, and also if you look at the last column under team coaching, and if you look at the process, the second row, you would see that, in most of the modalities, the owner is the team builder or the trainer or the facilitator. But in team coaching, it's a partnership. And that's kind of a little different compared to other modalities and very similar to individual coaching. And if you look at the last row, you will see that the ownership for team coaching is the team. So in that sense, those principles are pretty consistent with individual coaching. But the challenges with the team coach to nudge and keep the forward momentum using a mix of modalities, but letting the dialogue, the collective dialogue, stay with the team and be owned by the team. So the sophistication or the subtlety is a little bit more here compared to individual coaching, which is, you can say, a bit peer-to-peer. But here, how do you preserve that peer relationship with the whole team when there are hierarchies in the team, by the virtue of the organization structure, but you let the team kind of own the dialogue. So even if the team were to throw a question at the coach, how does the coach gently reflect it back to the team for the dialogue to be with the team? So in other words, it starts with team to coach to team, but at some point, the coach needs to make it team member to team member dialogue. So that's it. And again, if you notice the last statement at the bottom, ICF recognizes that you could use these modalities overtly or discreetly. So in other words, you don't have to be very deliberate in shifting hats. As we've been told in individual coaching, you could blend it a little bit more. I think there is a comment that the last column is getting blocked. So
Sandy, could we not do the whole screen?
Yeah, that's good. Now it's okay. Yeah.
No, it's
Yeah.
okay.
Now it's okay. Yeah. So that's kind of what shows up in terms of the nature of team coaching versus. And this chart you see here is a very critical chart also for the accreditation exam. I mean, especially in the MCQs, you get quite a bit of questions that assume this level of information is internalized.
So, yeah, any other thing that any one of you would like to add to that? Preeti, Rhea?
So right, what Arun has said, he rightly pointed about the team, that ownership of the team. So it is like team coach sometimes has to be just a silent observer, just be there with the team like a ghost, and let the team do the work. Also, very important point Arun has raised is about that we can use any modalities. So team coaching comes under the team development, and we can use any additional modalities without any information to the client, like without sharing to the client, like we are changing the hat. We don't have to. So we can do it as needed, as per the need of the team. So we have to play the role of the silent observer. Also, we have to play the role of a nudge, nudging the team. Also, we have to play the role of sometimes mentoring also. But team facilitation is what ICF has suggested, that it is more near to the team coaching. where we can use team facilitation sometime and less of team training and consulting and mentoring.
Yeah, and also I want to add that sometimes it doesn't matter how we explain, like it's matter, but sometimes it doesn't matter how we explain what is team coaching. The team is so regular or so automatically receive us as a consultant or as a trainer or as an expert. So at this moment, like when we have like, okay, what we want to do now? Do we want to do some strategy? Yeah, let's do strategy. Why did you decide to do strategy? Ah, you just said that we will, like, it's really develop the voice of each one in the team when we are the coaches and we give them the responsibility to lead the process.
Yeah. So I think one of the questions that that might be getting into the minds of participants is that why are organizations going for team coaching? Would you, any of you, like to answer that? I mean, there is a related question to that also, which is, why did you decide to go to for team coaching? You can take both together or sequentially. I mean, both are interrelated, I see.
Yeah.
Do you want to start, Preeti?
Yeah. So for me, why I have started this journey, I just wanted to explore further. It was like I was doing one-on-one coaching, and team was something, and doing the and I was doing group coaching earlier also, and it was so fascinating for me that I wanted to understand how the team coaching will come forward and how it will be. So that's how I started my journey, and it's really fascinating. And as I said in the beginning, also it's challenging and interesting both. And why the companies are moving towards team coaching, it is not moving towards team coaching. It is like a separate thing. It is not one-on-one coaching will stay there, but the team coaching, definitely the teams has to stay together. Team has to, in the corporate, everyone has to work in a team. So they should be aligned with the goals. So that helps the corporate. I believe that helps the organization, and that's why they are. And I believe also there are some financial aspect also that they are doing team coaching, the team coaching of 8 to 10 individuals at the same time. So maybe that may be the one of the objective of the corporate. What do you think, Rhea?
What I think I did the team coaching accreditation to just to accreditate my knowledge and to be like internationally received or whatever in any company. But I don't see that a lot of companies are looking for team coaching because it's a long process, and some companies are looking for cheaper and faster. But we will, or our team, or everyone who will join this accreditation, we will develop this, and because this area is very powerful and it's not like a plaster, it's a long-term effect from the team coaching.
I totally agree with that. In fact, my years in corporate, in with teams around, leading, facilitation, mentoring, anything but true coaching. As was always about, the mantra was the team above the individual, and how collaboration is is the name of the game more now than ever before, and it's collaboration over competition. And therefore, when I came to coaching and I was fortunate to get through systemic coaching, they were talking about team of teams and systems of systems, and how naturally the goodness of individual coaching will and it should spread to the teams and the broader system for lasting impact. So that's kind of what drew me, because of my background with teams, and having seen the incredible goodness of coaching at the individual level. To me, it was a no-brainer to see team coaching being, the tip of the spear. But from a corporate perspective, I believe that, I think to a point I said at the beginning, teams tend to be a little more stable than individual team members. So if a team is coached to a new level of alignment and cohesion, and a new dynamic towards their shared goal, generally they tend to be more high performing. They become the role models for other teams to look forward to. And if team coaching could be one of the modalities, if not a primary modality to get to that, then you can argue that there is a lot of goodness for the company and good ROI as well. And that's good for coaching, the coaching industry. So I feel that as a trend, this is a rising sub-trend. Like Preeti said, it doesn't take away from individual coaching at all, but it's probably scaling it times whatever is the team size, so that the team is performing as one. And as a related, adjunct, right? If there are certain team members who may not be pulling in the same direction with the same alignment and harmony, there are opportunities to coach them at an individual level to become better team members. So there is a connection between effective team coaching and effective individual coaching as well. And it's just better for the whole system if we could move towards a systemic kind of a coaching approach at the individual and at the team level. So that's kind of what's drawn me to it. I agree that it's way more complex and way tougher to crack in the real world. That's why I'm very envious and I admire what Raya and Preeti have done, and I'm putting my feelers out, and there are some initial potential opportunities. For me, not working for a company, an accreditation is baseline to even be considered. There is this past experience that one has in an industry, and I can tell you that whether we agree or not, even in a few individual executives that I'm coaching at individual level, the reason they came was it was a mentorship program, and they picked me up because I was in the same industry as them. And then I brought in coaching as the modality, and then bring in mentorship. And that seems to be working at the individual level. I'm hoping that companies likewise would warm up to the idea of team coaching and start realizing more benefits. It's something that I think we all should seriously consider, building a practice out of.
So what I'm hearing is that team coaching is a evolving profession, and I must say that ICF has done a great job in terms of promoting team coaching and giving it a structure. To say that team, because it is giving more credibility to this process, to this, I think somewhere to this whole structure of team coaching. So there's a related question I thought, I'll ask, I'll put it before the panel for a discussion, and the question is that how's the role of a team facilitator different from that of a team coach, while I think you shared, but it'll be great that if you could throw some light on that.
I think it's maybe a little bit similar to the not like every coach and every facilitator. You have, as coaches, I think you have coaching with ACC, PCC, and MCC, and I don't know if you know, but you feel the difference. You feel how the person work with their personality and they work with the competencies of ICF. So this is the key, I think, of the competencies of team coaching. We see the facilitator.
Yeah. Preeti or Arun, any thoughts?
Yeah, Preeti, you want to go first? Okay, so I mean, again, I have done team facilitation. Like I said, I haven't actually done real world team coaching, but what I'm given to understand, and actually I was in this interesting ICF led discussion actually with people from the International Facilitation Council. I think it's called IFC. I can't recollect what it's exactly called. And let me be honest here. While that was meant to clarify the differences, the similarities between facilitation and coaching was more apparent in that. And it led to maybe definitions being used a little bit differently by each. But the way I try to clarify to myself is facilitation is a little more short term. It's around a specific process or a way to solve something that that skill needs to be developed, or a process discipline needs to be developed within the team to get to a certain clarity. For example, how does this team communicate to another team, in a particular manner? It's very specific. It's got a specific end in mind, and once you get the clarity, it's over, and it's often facilitator led, based on a certain level of expertise on process facilitation that facilitator brings to a particular domain. Whereas I think, to the point that Raya mentioned, coaching is much more long-term. It's a lot to do with team dynamics, with alliances, with chemistry, interpersonal chemistry, stuff that's spoken on the surface and below the waterline, below the iceberg, in terms of dynamics that are preventing the team from getting to where they want. And while process clarity is what is being sought after in facilitation, achieving the goals, the shared goals, in a sustainable manner is the objective of team coaching. And that could take longer, because while on surface things may be looking good, there are a lot of choppy currents under the surface, which are actually creating, lots of dynamics that are preventing the team from moving to where they want to go. Some sabotage and stuff like that happening. So how do we uncover that in a highly safe space, where newfound trust is built, a new dynamic comes into motion, and the team achieves a new level of cohesion and trust? So it's a whole level different dynamic, and team dynamics are integral. Interpersonal dynamics are integral to coaching. They may not be central to facilitation. And the ownership is with the team, whereas clearly in a facilitation, the ownership is probably joint between the facilitator and team. And in team coaching, there is a close partnership between the team coach and the team. It's not just about facilitating the dialogue between the team, but a very close partnership. So hopefully that the depth and the qualitative difference of what is being tried to be achieved by team coaching is a whole level different from facilitation. And that's kind of what drew me to it as something that's more lasting in terms of its impact.
Yeah, impact is, I think, the most important point, which is very different from team facilitation. I think team facilitation is more of a short-term objective, and team coaching is more of a long-term work. Preeti, do you want to say anything on that?
No, Sandeep. Actually, Arun has rightly said and rightly put everything that it is a sort of team facilitation is a short-term project, and it is like, and I see team facilitation as something which can be included in the team coaching process. So it is like if team is stuck somewhere, or if as a coach we see something a need of a team facilitation, we can include that part into the team coaching process because it's a short term, and it is the ownership is, as in the team coaching, ownership is with the team, but in this the ownership mostly with the facilitator, and there is a clear cut objective that facilitator want to achieve. So that's the major difference between team facilitation and team coaching. And Arun has rightly put everything there.
And to Preeti's point, even things like team building, one could use in team coaching. You want to break the ice, and I have some very good examples that Raya and has used as team icebreakers, which you want to do to first build a certain dynamic with the team that doesn't exist today. So some of that team building approaches early on in the cycle of maybe 8-10 team coaching sessions that may last through 6 months. That's probably the scale at which some of these happen. It doesn't have to happen like that all the time, but it's definitely ongoing work that happens much through the competencies. Every competency at an individual level is mirrored by a team competency. In fact, ICF has 8 team competencies. The only thing that differs is the sub-competencies are add-ons to the individual sub-competencies. But they are exactly 8 and exactly the same definitions. So the concept is the same, but just the way it is applied is at a slightly different level of scale and scope.
Yeah. So I think what I'm getting, by listening to all of you is that team coaching can actually use all the modalities. It can do everything that the different modalities allow. You can use everything, all the modalities in the team coaching as a part of the process. So do you want to share anything about the team coaching processes and that are there, and any challenges that you faced, Rhea or Preeti or Arun? Rhea, you wanted to go?
Yeah, I want to just there is a question in the chat that maybe we missed. How do you handle a member who is not coachable in team coaching?
Yeah.
So very interesting question. And what is going on when the coach is not the expert and the team is an expert? And if someone, I don't know what does it mean, is not coachable, like he's or she's against every sentence. So we ask the team, what do you think we should do in this situation? What do you like? What are your ways to solve this? It's like a different way of solving some difficult areas of or communication or conflicts, one in front of the other. like not behind the stand, not in a silent, not in the emails, not but openly. And this is this, yeah. Just
Right.
yeah.
Right. So openly discussing what is happening, and team, as we said earlier, also team is a single entity here. So basically, whatever coach is feeling, whatever coach is seeing, unheard or heard, they put forward that to the team. That what do you think about this? What team is wants to do in this situation? What is happening here? What do you think? What do you think this is something which is happening here? And if yes, how? So everything should go towards the team. It is not, as Rhea was saying, it is not a single, you can't go outside and say, hey, come on, come outside and we will talk, we will have a little chit chat. We can't. So everything should come and in as open as to the team, in front of the team.
Yeah, and if it's contracted that the team manager is part of the team being coached, which is quite often a healthy way to go about it, then it also applies to the manager. If the manager is not, fully engaged with the team coaching process, or from a hierarchical perspective, he or she is distancing himself from the conversations, or looking at his phone, or stepping out and coming back later. The suggested process recommends that you call out the dynamic as a observation, as a gentle observation. Obviously, that's contracted, and you ask the team, what does the team think about this dynamic, and by doing so, behaviors that were politically incorrect to comment on become available to be examined by the team in a transparent manner, and hopefully with enough team building and trust building in the early stages of the process, it would become apparent to the manager or whoever is scuttling the process, the impact of their actions and behaviors, and that hopefully will move the team forward in the intended direction. So it's very powerful.
We can't hear you, Sandeep.
Yeah. So I think before we move to the other question, I think there were one or two points
More
that we
questions,
can
yeah.
share. It's almost 5:50. So would you like to share a little bit about credentialing requirements, how they are different?
Yeah, I can share very quickly my experience. So, I got a certification from a training agency on team coaching, and then if I recollect, there are 5 case studies to be submitted. 3 from the past and 2 most recently. I can't remember the time. Is it the last 12 months or whatever? But all of that is in the ICF website. So you submit those case studies, they are accepted, and then you go through a similar process for the examination. It's a mix of MCQ and situational judgment. It's a slightly shorter duration. The MCQs require some amount of internalization of the table we showed and some of the competencies. The judgment questions, I found them to be probably as complex, if not even more complex, than the individual exam. The reason is that the scenarios are not so clean cut. If you do the ICF questions for ACTC, and Solutions Academy has also got a list of, I think, I don't know how many questions, 40 or 50 questions. They are very aligned with team coaching itself, but the exam itself talks about complexities arising from a certain dynamic in the team, and sometimes the manager in the middle of the process of the team coaching, wanting a different outcome, falling out of alignment with the team coach, some of the dynamics that come and the complexities that come out of individuals scuttling the process. And so the big takeaway for me was, don't forget the individual competencies when you go and write the team coaching. You build on top of that. You clearly understand the individual competencies and the team coaching as an add-on to it. Because at the end of the day, you're dealing with people, individuals. There's no such thing as a team out there. While we are working towards team as one entity with a common identity, there are all these interpersonal dynamics, and sometimes stuff happens outside the room, which needs to be managed and brought in with permission into the room for the team. But you can't sometimes help it if the manager wants to go and have a separate chat. And those conversations are back to the individual coaching space. So we got to go with that overall mindset, plus kind of a thing. Don't consider team coaching as a silo separate from this, even though the two can happen separately in real life. Team coaching, in my humble opinion, builds upon individual coaching, but it's applied to a team. So there are additional competencies. So those would be some observations. Any from your side, Raya and Preeti, for the accreditation?
Yeah, I want to add that someone who, like you, did the ACC and ACTP in a difference of 3 months or 2 months, and I think me the same. So for me, I did a PCC and ACTP, and for me, the ACTP was a little bit easier for me because of the number of questions and the shorter questions. So you have 4 parts and 2 parts with really short questions. So it make me time to breathe and to prepare to the next part of long questions of situations and dilemmas. And the questions with dilemmas, as you said, Arun, it was pretty like challenging, and some situations that I even can't imagine or didn't know about this. But it also like prepare you at the exam to be prepared in your real life to these situations, maybe.
Yeah, absolutely. And I remember there were 4 sections, like you said. There were MCQs and 17 judgment questions, then a break, then another set of MCQs and 18 situation judgment questions in the 4th section. So the number of situation judgments are 35 compared to 81 in the individual, but some of them leave you scratching your head. But there's enough time and it's not as taxing.
Yeah. So as Raya and Arun was saying, it's not that challenging. And I also did PCC and then I did ACTC in I think in less than a month time period. So for me, it was like ACTC was okay. I have done it earlier. I can do it for you also. So ACTC was the multiple choice questions was definitely very easy. And if you have a knowledge and if you have really understood what the team coaching on all of the competencies and the differences between the different modalities, it's easy. But for the situational questions, definitely you have to think through, and the time is not enough to think through. Also, it's really challenging, and as Arun was saying, it's complex because you have to understand that one-on-one. At the same time, there is addition of so the team coaching competencies are not separate one. It's a supplement to the one-on-one. So they are, if in one-on-one coaching, in individual coaching for the PCC markers, if for the competency 1, if there are 10 points, you can add another 4-5 points to it, and that becomes the team coaching competency. So it is complex, and the questions, because it involves lots of people, and it in the simple, if you read it, team, like I was telling to someone that if you read team member and if you read team members, the difference is there. So you just have to be very, very careful while reading the question also. It really makes the difference in the understanding and answering the question. So it's a little bit difficult, and the process of filling the form is little lengthier than the individual, the PCC and ACC, because you have to fill up the whole case studies, and you have to write about it. You have to write what you have done there. You have to reflect there. You have to write the case study. So it will take time. It takes time, but it is doable.
Yeah. So I think just to say more clearly that there is a difference not only in terms of the exam, but there is also, you have to do some 5 actual case studies. You have to actually do 5 team coaching, just like we have to do 100 hours or 500 hours. Here you have to do 5. You have to get experience of 5 team coaching and plus supervision, I think.
Plus
Correct me.
supervision, yes. We have missed that. That is a very important part, because supervision is the important integral part of the team coaching process. You have to go through the supervision for filling the form. Also, you have to write that you have went through the supervision. You have to give the supervisor's name and all of those details while filling the form.
Yeah, so even the process is slightly different. So some questions are there, I think. So do you want to say anything, Preeti, Arun, Rhea, before we take more questions?
No.
Okay. So one of the questions is, has any of the panelists used Peter Hawkins' model or David Clutterbuck's model? If yes, how does that fit into the overall scheme of things?
So have read about it, but not used it yet.
Same here. There are many videos on YouTube on both these that give a very good sense of this, but no, haven't used them. I know I cut you short there, Raya, but I'll just take 30 seconds if it's okay. I mean, there are a couple of different approaches in team coaching I'm seeing. There's certain schools that say you got to be part of the dialogue and you need to move in and out of the dialogue. There are certain schools that say you got to watch it like a witness and hold the space, but let the team talk. You just observe and don't partake in the dialogue. So there are a couple of subtle nuances. Honestly, at my stage, it's still wide open in terms of what works. So, but yeah, there are some really good videos that give a good sense of where some of these people who have been doing it for decades come from. Sorry, over to you, Raya.
No, I didn't use.
Yeah. So there is a question. There are 2 questions actually. They are interrelated. So the first one of the questions is, what is the typical duration of a team coaching engagement assignment? And the second one is asking, for those 5 coaching assignments that you have to submit, is there a minimum duration?
So there is no duration for team coaching assignment. It is not like that. It is not prescribed that you have to do for the 6 months, 8 months. It's not, or how many sessions. It is not prescribed in that way. But definitely the questions and the form when you fill, it will judge that you really have done good amount of sessions over there. So it is not about the time period, but it is about your learning and experiences all along the way.
Yeah, and also I want to add that 5 team coaching assignments, it can be pure team coaching, or it can be any other type of team development. So you just need to have this feedback of your customer or someone who invited you, and yeah.
And in my case, I did notice as I was reflecting back into my working career that in many instances, without knowing it, I had blended facilitation and coaching. So I reflected on 3 of those experiences, and some of them were over a year, some were 3, 4 months, but clearly called out what modality was where, and I think they appreciate that. In terms of the most recent 2, when I wasn't working for any company, I was on my own. In the training provider, they had created wisdom groups. So peer coaches getting together, bringing some real world situation and becoming a team and playing roles, role playing, and insights and learnings from those role plays could also be submitted as case studies. So that's kind of how I was able to submit.
So there is a question whether group process facilitation can be considered.
So group process, so when you fill up the form, you have to actually identify how much you have done the team coaching, how much you have done the percentage wise, how much it was a group coaching or facilitation or whatever it was, you have to call it out. And in my experience, I have done all 5 of them had some elements of the team coaching. So I'm not sure about the fully 100% facilitation, how the ICF will take it. So I have no idea on that. There was one more question, Sandeep, which we have missed earlier, was like there was one more how what team coach will do differently than the facilitator.
Yeah.
I think we answered this.
Yeah, we answered that.
We answered that one. Okay. All right. So anything from you, Runa and Raya, about this one? Can it be a group process facility? Because I don't have any idea about it.
Yeah, I mean, so I mean, in terms of the case study, I don't know. But what this question does remind me is that ICF in some of their videos does make a point to differentiate group coaching from team coaching. Now, I'm not sure whether that was the question, but maybe a 30-second on that is the way they describe it is, group coaching, everybody's got, are there for a particular reason, maybe to skill up in something or let's say to learn coaching, but their objectives for applying coaching could be different from each other in the group. They would be having individual goals of applying the output of that group coaching in different ways. Some may want to be life coaches, some may want to be transition, career, executive, whatever. Whereas in a team coaching, what we're trying to do is to make the team goal happen, which is above the individual's goals. The individual goals may be sub-goals or maybe even different, but we are trying to make the team goal happen. So ICF does make a point to differentiate between group coaching and team coaching, and it's good to call that distinction out. In that sense, my submissions for the case studies, if that's the question, were all around teams and not groups in that sense. But I don't know whether anybody could submit a group facilitation as a case study. I don't know.
Right. So, Preeti, Rhea, Arun, would you like to share something? I think we had one more slide that you wanted to share.
Yeah, I think we had things like summarizing some takeaways from this, plus a couple of points that I think we didn't cover in detail. So maybe if it's okay, we could look at that 5 takeaways that the panel has put together.
Yeah.
And we can discuss that. Maybe I'll have a first stab at it, and then we could discuss around that. So maybe if we could bring up that slide. Yeah, so I'll very quickly share a couple of things I think we didn't cover. What we clearly talked about team as one entity with a common identity. Even if the team came in without a common identity, and that was the problem, the team coach is encouraged to encourage the team to work towards building a common identity, because that's kind of what's going to make them cohesive as a team, where the team is more than the sum of the individual team members, right? So you get that synergy. So that's that first point. I think we talked about it quite a bit. There's this element of team coach supervision, which came in our discussions, which basically about, and Ryan, please chime in. It could be quite an experience for the team coach to go through a process where you're trying to get a team to get their act together. I mean, in the best case, or behave themselves in the worst case, right? And what I think it's in the second competency about mindset, if I remember, that supervision is mentioned, which is the team coach is encouraged to have regular supervision, to basically get support for themselves, the team coach, and accountability. So how do we make sure the team coach, he may have some sessions that did not go well. The team were bickering, they didn't listen, maybe some of them pounced on the coach, and the coach is feeling pretty shitty about the situation, if I'm gonna use that word. So how do you get to a supervisory situation where you get supervised to build back that forward momentum for yourself, and get the support and development and accountability you need to bring that forward momentum to a team, because that's what you're supposed to do. So that's the team supervision piece. The other thing is, typically beyond 7 or 8 people in the team, it becomes hard for one coach to maintain the presence and observe everybody. So again, the opinion is divided whether it is 12 or 13. I know that in the submission for the case study in ICF, if I'm not wrong, it said if you had a team of greater than 15, you need to have a co-coach, and call that out. And that's there in when you fill out the case study. But in all the the general training, it's like a number of 8. More than 8, it's good to have a co-coach to also observe the rest of them and maintain presence. So the co-coach is important. The roles between the coach and the co-coach are really important. The coach drives the process, the co-coach observes and shares and reflects. So that's the third one. We talked about 4 and 5 in various cases. The team owns their collective dialogue, and the team coach reflects the dialogue back to the team so that they own the dialogue and they build the interpersonal chemistry to sort out conflicts. And of course, the team coach can help to set norms and rules to handle conflict, but the team has to adopt it and make it their own. So those were the 5. Anything you want to add to these, Preeti or Raya, as the 5 key takeaways from what we discussed so far?
No, we have covered actually almost so everything. So we have tried to cover. So we want to actually hear from the audience at this moment, that if there is anything specific, if they want to hear, because we only have 15 minutes left. So anything specific if they want to hear.
Yeah. So there is one question, Preeti, which is how many members need to be minimum in a team? There is a question whether 2 can be considered a team.
Yeah.
Yes.
2 is a team.
Yeah. So over to audience for any questions. Any other burning questions anybody has? We will have more sessions. We are planning more sessions on team coaching. very soon.
Sandeep, could we switch a little bit, like not switch, jump to the last slide? So,
Yeah.
Kavita. Yes, Kavita.
Yeah, hi. Thank you. It's very useful session, and because I'm considering team coaching. So my question is, two organizations they contacted me. They want to be there were some dynamics between the founder and the co-founder. So they didn't want the other employees to be a part. So is even that is considered as team coaching by ICF, and can that be submitted as a case study?
Yes.
Right. As per our understanding, yes.
Yeah. The team is defined by the client. The client defines the team that needs to be coached. So it could be a team of two.
Yeah.
And yeah.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
So Preeti, last slide. Rhea wanted to share
Yeah,
that.
I wanted to bring some joy or some
Yes.
surprising. So sometimes this is my case from my my team coaching. So I just wanted to share with you and hear your advices. What do you think should I do? Did I do whatever? And how would you deal with this situation? So during the online team coaching session that you are leading with a co-coach, you feel the need for support and write a message to your co-coach who is currently in the position of observing only. So I wrote her, do you want to add something? However, she did not see my message and continued to observe the session, okay? And after 10 minutes, she saw the message and she jumped into the session and she started to lead the session. And I wrote her, please stop, please, like, could you give me the opportunity to lead the session? And she did not stop. She did not see the message again. And after 10 minutes of leading the session, she stopped and I jumped to continue the session. So what would you do in this situation of, I don't know if it's technical issues or if something that we needed to discuss before, but you already in this situation. So what would you advise me to do differently?
So the question is to the audience.
Yes.
So I want to add one more sentence over here, that in the team coaching, it is not only the team which is a complex structure, it is also sometimes a co-coach. So you have to manage that dynamics also if you are working with a co-coach. So now over to the audience.
So maybe you want to start because some people maybe think it will be wrong or right. So maybe you will jump in first. Preeti?
Okay. So for me, if I have this kind of scenario, I'd put that again back to the team. What you have noticed over here, and what would you have done in this kind of scenario, and what is happening here? So that will trigger some kind of, the thought process, that will trigger some kind of dialogue again back to the team. They will see how the dynamics are playing here between the two team coaches, and not showing that, I'm not saying that not be transparent, but be transparent and say that this is the case. As a team member, what would you do? What you are seeing here? What you are gaining from here? So pushing back again to the team.
So really transparently to share the situation, because they don't see what's, we have these messages between us.
Yes, because
Okay.
that will trigger again some kind of, thought process inside the team. They may have been facing, then they can relate to it.
Thank you. Arun?
Yeah, and so I was going to say that in a face-to-face session, it's hard to do that message passing without everybody seeing it. In online, it's possible, but I think the principle is still the same. It is being transparent, and for example, if the co-coach kept on taking over, when you said you want to add something, the co-coach thought that we want you to lead, and clearly you didn't want the co-coach to lead. It would be fine, in my opinion, to reset expectations very transparently on what your role is as a coach and what the co-coach is there to help, observe, and share. And share that openly in front of the team so that everybody knows everybody's position transparently. And then the co-coach then recorrects and, does not lead the session. In fact, a variant of this comes in the exam preparation, which is in the physical setup, where the choices are that the coach stops the session, gets into a separate closed door conversation with the co-coach where they battle it out, to just doing nothing and letting it go, to winking to the group that don't worry about the co-coach, he or she's off script, which is not being transparent, to very publicly, sharing it. So there are 4 options, and the best and the worst. So this is a very, very good example, and it can happen if we have a co-coach.
Yeah.
Right.
Thank you, Arun. Any ideas from the audience?
So they are in a thinking spree.
They are, yes.
Uh,
Hmm.
yeah. Juna saying, let it be and proceed.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, I think I would do the same, because in front of the team, even though we coaches are not experts, a team sees us as experts. So I feel that I will not say anything to the other coach, let it be. And after some time, after the whole thing is done, I think I'll speak to the co-coach again.
Thank you.
Yeah, there's a difference between real life and what the competencies are, right? And
Right.
again, there's this version of what is the answer that the exam expects you to have versus the real life. In real life, we'll have to apply a relationship filter also, right? But the direction is be as transparent and as open as
Yeah.
you can, to the point of being vulnerable yourself, more vulnerable than in individual coaching, because there it's just you and your client. Here it's like 7, 8, 10, 15 people, a manager and you and a co-coach. And they will, who knows? I mean, we say confidentiality, but in real life, there could be experience sharing going on in the organization on this fantastic thing called team coaching and how it's going. So it's out there, it's wide open.
Yeah, and the same time, we as a coaches are never an expert, either in the individual coaching or team coaching. So in the individual coaching also, being vulnerable, that is our competency also, that if we as a coaches can be vulnerable, that is the best thing to do. If we can't be, we are doing partnership, and if we can't be vulnerable, how can we expect our partner to be vulnerable? So that is my
That's a
view.
great point. I mean, we are making vulnerability almost like a virtue, right? And hopefully the team also picks up on that. And I mean, great teams are, you can openly challenge within the team, even if something is going wrong, and don't fear getting shot down, right? And that comes from vulnerability. Yeah, great point.
So there is nothing else. Anything else would you like to say before we close? Rhea, Arun, Preeti, I think it's almost time to close.
For me, I'm still in a work in progress for the individual coaching and the team coaching as well. And I'm learning day by day. And today, what I shared is experience till date. And next time when we meet, maybe I can experience further. I can share more. I can share more stories, and I'd love to share, sometime the stories of the team coaching cases also. And I believe Rhea and Arun also will we will join on that we can share some cases how we have handled and all of those things. Today we had just a glimpse of at the end with the Rhea's case, so maybe we can do more of that talk also sometimes. And it's all about learning, and it's all about nothing is perfect, even in the in any coaching space. If we are doing individual or group or team, nothing is perfect. It just be there. That's it. Just be there. That's my word. Last one. Over to you, Raya or Arun.
Yeah, I just wanted to add that I really appreciate that you came and that you gave us the opportunity to share our experience and our knowledge. And we will hope that I will hope that it was helpful and a little bit enjoyable. So yeah, so this is from my side. Thank you.
Yeah, I couldn't add anything more to what Preeti and Raya have said. Really appreciate you guys coming, and I hope more of us would take steps in our team coaching journey. I, for one, can't wait to get my hands dirty, but I hope more of us would cross over and also become team coaches. I think there's goodness for the industry and clients and for coaching.
Yeah. So thank you. Thank you, everyone. Whatever we could do with the help of in-house resources of coaching journey, we have shared with you our collective learning, and we will have more sessions on team coaching and more panel discussions. Thank you very much.
Sandeep, can we take a picture?
Thank you.
Yeah.
Though we have less now. It's 10.
Yes, smiling. Everyone
Okay.
smiling.
So I'll be taking a screenshot. So everyone smile on the camera, please. Okay. How to make everyone in a same size? Why it is it only me or for everyone?
You were
Like-
asking how to make everyone smile.
No. I got it now. So again, one more time. Everyone smile. And we are done. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you
Thank
very
you.
much. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Thanks.
Thank you.